Welcome to this week's episode of Commerce Central. Today, Ben and I want to give everyone an update on what we're doing as far as marketing new industrial sites in Lawrence County. You may have seen recently in the news, the Lawrence County government, or the Joint Economic and Community Development Board, which is one of our governing boards, has been awarded a $2 million grant from the state of Tennessee to purchase new property. And that's because, one, we've been looking at new land for a new industrial park for a number of years. We've done an immense amount of due diligence, and also the market demands that we acquire new industrial land. We're seeing a lot of businesses looking in our area, and so we just wanted to talk through that today. Ben, interject as much as possible, at least
Gotcha.
maybe some comic relief. We don't get to be funny a lot of times on a site tour. I mean, we have fun, but
Not as much as what we would like.
Exactly. So with that said, maybe you're a prospect watching. You'll hear our story a little bit, probably get to know us a little bit better in the process as well. But as you can see, we have maps today. And these maps are things that we regularly bring on site visits with us just to demonstrate our proximity to certain markets, maybe tell you a little bit more about the land while we're on site. And then in the site visit process, we occasionally come back and maybe have a lunch or a working lunch, and where we tell prospects about the community more.
Right.
But let's start with, I guess the automotive map. I said I guess twice.
I guess.
So as you can see here, this is an updated map that shows all of the OEMs, automotive OEMs in the Southeast and maybe in the Midwest to a degree, as well as you see north of Tennessee here. But this is the Tennessee Valley region. You can see Lawrenceburg here is where the star is. That's obviously where we're located. And there are 4 OEMs in Tennessee. Ford, which is the Blue Oval City over in Haywood County. General Motors, which is in Spring Hill, which is the closest OEM to us. Nissan, which is in Smyrna, and Volkswagen. All of these OEMs have very significant battery components as far as investments happening. So at General Motors, they did a joint venture with LG Energy Solutions, and therefore you have Ultium Cells, which if you're going towards Nashville from Lawrenceburg and you're taking Highway 31, that's the big building being built on the left as you go that direction. But again, the most recent announcement was Blue Oval City in West Tennessee, which is the Ford and SK Innovations joint venture there. Thousands of jobs. It's on an amazing site that was marketed for a number of years. But anyway, very heavy on the battery side of the world. I mentioned SK Innovations and LG Energy Solutions. They are bringing a lot of new business to the United States. But that's not to go without saying the Mazda Toyota JV, which I think is Mazda Toyota Manufacturing US is the technical name of that joint venture down in Huntsville, which is there. So again, what we like to show though is our proximity via drive time. So this next map we're showing, Ben, tell us about this next map.
Shoot, yeah. Okay, so obviously this red dot pin right here, this is where we're located.
As a disclaimer, Ben does not say shoot yeah on a
site
visit.
I'll redo that.
No, it's good. Anyway.
So as you can see right here, this red pin, that's locating us directly on Lawrenceburg. And right here you can see we have Ford and SK right there, 2.5 hours away. GM Ultium Cells in Spring Hill, it's only 1 hour drive. If you drive like a maniac like Ryan does, then you're there in 45 minutes. Right?
Probably faster.
And then Smyrna, Nissan right there, 1.5 hours. And then in Chattanooga, you got Volkswagen. That's about 2 hours and 51 minutes. I would say it's about,
it's on the other side of Chattanooga. So it's
and then right here you got Mazda Toyota, only 1 hour and 15. That's about accurate, I would say.
Yeah, no, it is. And that's the beauty about really all of these OEMs and all the battery manufacturers that were pointed out here. They can all be accessed 4-lane, limited access highway. So, if I want to get over to Ford and SK at the Blue Oval City, I'm going Highway 64 and then cutting up, I think it's Highway 45 up there. Or if I'm going to Volkswagen, I just stay on 64, get on 24, the like. And same, again, but the same story is mostly with Spring Hill. It's literally 4 lanes the entire way there. You all know that if you ever drive that. So, but
I was going to also point out too, just like, how lucky we are to have 64 and 43 run right through. That it's only what do you say? It's like 30 minutes to hit 65.
Oh yeah. Well, it's
25-ish.
It's a mile a minute is kind of what we say, and it's about 30 miles to I-65, and so 30 minutes, 30 miles, pretty simple. But something else that we shouldn't, go without saying for this map is also our proximity to 2 international airports. You have BNA, so Nashville International there, and Huntsville International here. And I don't know about you, but I like flying out of both. Right now, my preference is Huntsville. Cheaper parking, and the flights direct to where I need to go. But Nashville, nonstop to London, great international airport, and great economic impact to the region. But the idea when we're talking to businesses is that we're showing them, I guess, variety. They have options of who their customers are. They can serve not just Ultium sales, but also SK. They can fly out of not only Nashville, but Huntsville. And it's just one of my favorite maps. And Ben, I think you did this one last
Yes.
fall. Yeah. So good stuff. Map making is not a skill that we regularly talk about, that they don't teach you in school, right?
But you have to.
But we have to learn it.
Yeah.
And so now let's talk about the sites that we market. So I'm going to tell you the whole story. I guess our community purchased Team Lawrence Commerce Park, which is a 116-acre industrial park, purchased a portion of it in the early 2000s. It was the Murray, Ohio test base, so it was a very well-manicured piece of land, a very beautiful farm. In 2013-14, we were able to buy some additional land to fill it out. Also touch the railroad, Ben, if you can point to the rail over there for us.
Yeah, right through here.
That's right. And so I guess we got it certified in 2014, which meant that we had 2 sites that had all the due diligence completed. And due diligence is basically environmental studies and geotechnical studies and wetland studies and threatened and endangered species studies and
So
cultural resource studies and flood study. I mean, all the studies, and that's what due diligence means. And we want to conduct that before a business gets here so that when they're evaluating, the evaluation period is easier. They know that the site has lower risk potential. And of course, you don't want to buy something without seeing what it is.
Right.
In 2014, 2015, the city of Lawrenceburg built the speculative building and also FedEx ground distribution located here. Of course, fast forward, Craig Manufacturing announced that they were buying the city's spec building in 2018. About the same time, H&M Bay has a frozen and refrigerated food ground distribution center also here. And so the east part of the industrial park, which is just north of Lawrenceburg, is full, and we market 72 acres today. And so that's what's outlined here in the yellow. Ben, tell us about the next map.
All right, so this is the this is what we've been working for, right?
That's right.
This is so the grant that we got, the $2 million that we received from the state, is going towards purchasing this property right here. And as you can see, it's a kind of odd-shaped L parcel. However, the way that we have it set up is that we're going to have back 80 acres right here, and then we're going to have a front 40 acres right there. And the beauty of it is that we already have utilities running right through here, so that all you have to do is move it to across the highway, and you got utilities on site.
That's right. So we have 2 sites to market, and as you saw in the previous map, I suppose I almost said slide. I guess it is a slide technically, but we market that in 2 ways. A lot of companies that are supplying Ultium cells or SK or whoever else, they need 30, 40 acres, and so we typically break that up. And by having this site, even though it is odd shaped, the worst case scenario is that we have 2 sites. One's 40 acres, one's 80 acres, and that meets our market. Of course, the longevity of this site and long-term vision is that we add to it one day and have a larger industrial park. But with the funds that we have and that are available from the state right now, this is what we were able to get. We very much appreciate. There was a whole committee that made the selection for this. The State Department of Economic and Community Development was involved. Actually, it was against their program, but TDOT was involved, USDA was involved, TVA was involved, Austin Consulting was involved. I'm naming people, and I shouldn't have because a lot of people were involved.
You're almost hitting all of them.
There were a few more there. I know our friend Dana Ferguson, who's a director of business development, she was in on the presentations.
Yeah.
Oh, TDEC. Yeah,
TDEC
was involved. So again, it's a heavy lift, but it's important to look back in time, and Ben may not know this story. But we first identified this site for potential industrial development in 2016. We actually went through, the state of Tennessee has something called the Property Evaluation Program, where we submit multiple sites, they bring consultants down, and they say, hey, let's start looking for your next industrial park for your long-term vision and your growth strategy. This was one of those sites that we submitted. They liked it, but because we had so much land available across the road, they said, hey, it may not be the right time to invest in this site. Keep looking at Team Lawrence Commerce Park, and that's what we did. We actually got another site development grant to expand County Farm Road, which I'll point out on the next map. But we still kept our eyes on this site because it made a lot of sense for us as a community to look at it. In fact, to the degree we were awarded another site development grant to do all the studies, all the due diligence, and do all the studies for this parcel that we did ahead of going after and purchasing the property. So with that said, let's talk about some due diligence. Some of those things include surveys, such as topographical surveys. And like I mentioned, I wanted to point out County Farm Road. That's the road here north of Craig Manufacturing. That's actually on the border of the city of Lawrenceburg and the city of Etheridge. But as you can see, these due diligence surveys show the flatness of the site. And on Team Lawrence Commerce Park in particular, you can see that it slopes a little bit toward the railroad and toward Shoal Creek. 905 basically runs down. That's the low point. That's where the creek goes. So that's the topo map for Team Lawrence Commerce Park. And here's the topo map for the Lawrenceburg Industrial Park. Again, as you can see, pretty flat, and that's a good thing. Yep. Flat land is important when doing industrial development. The highway access is very important for both of these sites, as is rail. But part of that due diligence is
also boring.
Boring, which, I mean, it's not boring, but it's boring. You know what I mean? So tell us about this.
Okay, Terracom went in to this piece of property right here, and they drilled. And what they were doing was seeing how deep it actually went before you hit bedrock. And so right here you can see we have 33 feet, 42 feet, 41 feet. I mean, what was the average? It was an average of like 37 or 38 feet, which is unheard of in Tennessee. You go to East Tennessee, you hit rock at a foot. In some of our surrounding counties, you know, it's hard to build. But this is not just about how far down you can go, because a lot of the manufacturers we talk to, they need deep pits and maybe some pillars because they have tall buildings. But it's also the quality of the buildability of the soil. And so this is also, these studies, the geotechnical study also gives us like the load bearing weight of the soils and the site itself. And so as you can see, Team Lawrence Commerce Park was certified because it's a really good site.
It's a really good site. Now, that's not to say that the Lawrenceburg Industrial Park is also not a good site. Now, obviously, they terminated some borings at 20 feet. They could have kept going, but they did so many on this site, and it's so large, it's 151 acres, that they terminated the borings at 20. But you can see they terminated some a little bit sooner because they hit bedrock. But again, the soil quality is exactly the same. So while this site may not support a very, very, very tall building or as tall of a building, it certainly supports our target market, which a lot of times is EV related. Now, but the most important thing as we talk EVs, Ben, is what?
Utilities.
That's right. You may not see the top of this in the screen, so I'm actually going to bring it down. Yeah, there we go. So this is Team Lawrence Commerce Park, and as you can see, this site has all the utilities ready to go on site today. That's a big deal because a lot of these companies need to be in, I guess, in production, or they need to start their production yesterday. So I'll point this out real fast. The yellow line here is, I can't even see. I'm sorry.
The yellow line is, it's a 2-inch gas main.
Yeah, 2-inch gas main here. It's 4-inch at the highway. That's what I was looking for. I always get those confused because the gate station is over to the west of here. As you can see, also the red line is electricity. What's interesting about this site is that there's 15 megawatts in the air on the wire today, and that's a big deal because we see a lot of high power users. Blue is water, green is sewer, and so you can see here the blue line along the highway is an 18-inch water main, and then the blue line up the middle of Commerce Way, which is a completed road now if you ever drive up there, is a 12-inch main. I said that backwards. It's actually all the water is 12-inch, but it's an 18-inch sewer main is what I meant to say. So it's an 18-inch sewer main along the highway here, and it's 12 inches here. Everything else, all the water mains are either 12 inches or 6 inches. Haven't had enough coffee today, Ben, but that's okay.
Nor have I.
Yeah, but as Ben mentioned earlier about the Lawrenceburg Industrial Park, here's County Farm Road, and you can see there's a cluster of utilities. You may not be able to see it in the screen here, but there's a cluster of utilities here on the corner of Highway 43 and County Farm Road. That's why we thought the Lawrenceburg Industrial Park was so important. But as Ben was pointing out.
Yeah, right here.
Cluster of utilities right there. And so when we were looking to invest in new industrial land, we wanted it to be a limited investment from the community. So instead of extending utilities miles and miles, is there a way to
Literally
get land and just go across the road?
Street.
And so that's what we've done now. And so we're excited about that. But this is one way we market the front 40, as you can see here, of the Lawrenceburg Industrial Park. All of this is in unincorporated Lawrence County. In fact, the city of Etheridge is here and Lawrenceburg is here. So it borders both cities there. But again, great utility story, good flat due diligence. So it's good buildable. We're going to take this, both of these sites, the front 40 and the back 80, through certification. Hopefully we're going to start that process this fall. But this is kind of what we're talking about when we, one, market to prospects, but two, when you see a press release come out that says the county gets $2 million,
that's what it's going towards.
This is what it's going towards. So I know that was a quick run through, Ben, but what's the word of the day?
Dude, no. All right, what's the word of the day? Wait, no. Let me go through the whole spiel. We had this tradition
on
right? Commerce Central that we do every episode. I don't know why we do it. I have no idea, but we do it anyways. So, Ryan, I'm going to give you word of the day. What is it?
Word of the day today is diligence.
Diligence. Now, why is it diligence?
So it's not because of all the studies that we do, but it really is economic development, recruiting new business, community development. It takes diligence, meaning really you always have to be putting one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. Like, yes, would I love to have a 1,000-acre industrial park right now? Yes, but it's baby steps. Not saying this one's going to be the 1,000-acre industrial park, but one day it might be. I don't know.
Who knows?
But this is taking the necessary baby steps to get there, because if we're diligent and we're responsible in doing that, we'll see success.
Huh. That's a great word, Ryan.
I made it up just now.
Perfect. So thank y'all for joining us this week on Commerce Central. Check us out next week for an even better episode. Oh, actually, no. Let me rephrase that. Something special is going to be coming up.
What's special?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry. Okay. I won't.
See y'all next week.